Hello and welcome to a mindful moment. How are you, Melissa?
I'm hanging in there. We're almost to the end of the year. How are you
I
doing?
know. I'm okay, but I was giving some thought to the fact that we are entering, it's just what tends to be a sort of hectic, usually stressful period of the year with the holiday blitz. And I know for me personally, and everybody I talk to, people are already feeling anxious or apprehensive about what's to come. And so instead of being kind of ready for the holidays and excited, there's a lot of people who are starting out maybe with their glass not more than half full.
Oh,
So
yeah.
thinking this might be a good time to just have a little reminder about, how we can enjoy the holidays mindfully instead of just starting out dysregulated or, getting adding stress to our plates when we already feel stressed. So I don't know,
Yeah.
how do you feel about it?
Well, number one, I would like to point out that I don't know who decided on holiday dates. Okay. But why do we wait till the end of the year to have all of it crammed into the span of 2.5 months? Like, it's too much. But no, I feel okay right now. I just have a lot going on because I also, right after the holidays, my daughter is leaving to go study abroad in Italy. So it's a lot to take in for a small span of time.
It is, it is. And if we're feeling stressed, then we're not typically thinking mindfully, right? Which means we're going to enter this maybe mindlessly, like we're already stressed. So let's like get through it, get all the shopping done, get everything done in advance, rush, rush, rush. Make sure you connect maybe very superficially with the people that you normally see at the holidays.
Yeah.
And I think instead we could look at this as this is our time to really calm down, notice what we're grateful for, um, think more carefully about like maybe how do we want to feel during this holiday season
Yeah. Yeah. No,
instead
I
of just,
totally agree.
yeah, instead of just rushing into it and not paying any attention. So I think one of the things that I know I used to be guilty of this, I've been really pretty good about it the last few years, but is overcommitting during the holidays.
I was just going to say that. Like, you don't have to do everything.
Yeah. And you can say no without feeling guilty. I've had several people because this year, normally Melissa and I are together for Thanksgiving. This year, she and her family are going to see the in-laws. And so, as people have been asking me, what are you doing for Thanksgiving? I've been saying, I'm just going to have this really quiet 4-day weekend, which is, I mean, I love being with you
Doesn't
guys,
that
but,
sound dreamy?
but I can see this like, oh, look, like they think, oh, I'm going to be lonely or it's like, no, I'm going to see them in 2 weeks. It's not permanent, but it's kind of nice to think I don't have to wrestle with a giant turkey this year. And I'm going to cook a dinner, but I'm roasting a chicken. But I mean, it's like I'm making it easy on myself because we have been through a very stressful period the last few months. And so it's like, oh, this is my chance to just reset, wind down. Um, I've already made it clear when I can see the invitation is coming, like, oh, well, you can join us. It's like, thank you, but no, I'm really looking forward to some peace and quiet, or I'm really looking forward to really just resting or doing something I never have time to do, like read a novel, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anybody can do that. If you feel tired or you feel stretched too thin, then just say no. I hate to sound like the old drug commercial, but just say no very kindly and lovingly and appreciatively. But it's okay to not, do everything.
Why do you
If you,
think we hold on to those traditions so tightly? Like, why do we have to go and do all of this on these days? And, it's like this, it's kind of drilled into you that this is what you're supposed to be doing at this time of year.
yeah,
And I think that's what stresses people out the most. It's like feeling like they're obligated to go do something when really you can do it anytime.
right. Exactly. I mean, but that is where it comes from. People do it because they feel obligated and they're worried that somebody will think something bad about them. It's even with me saying like I'm almost feeling pity from people. I'm not living up to the expectation that you have to be with a bunch of people on a holiday.
Yeah.
And and again, I love doing that, but I didn't it's not that I planned this, it just kind of happened. It's like a gift. So it's like, okay, I'm going to take
Well,
it.
think about the actual time that you are spending with people on the holiday. Like you said, it's very superficial. It's short. It's a brief period of time, so you're not
Mhm.
really getting to connect. It's loud. It's chaotic. It's I don't personally think that it's quality time to be spending with people. You know what I mean? Maybe
Yeah.
on Christmas alone with my family, I feel like that. But once you get everybody else involved, it's like you're so frazzled and stressed out. It's really difficult to kind of spend that quality time with people.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I like about our Thanksgivings is there's just 6 of us now.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel that stressed out way when
No,
we
it
do it.
doesn't. It is nice. Yeah.
And I do think I set an intention, to really be thoughtful about the holidays
Mhm.
on many levels, but specifically, so I'm starting to make plans with friends. And it's become a fun tradition to come up with some goofy thing. I think last year we made pottery or something, but what are we going to do? I sent the list out of my ideas. And then when we get together, it's again a small group and it's not on the holiday. It's not interfering with anyone's, family time or anything, but it's meaningful. We're having like meaningful conversations and doing something fun together versus going to parties, party after
Mhm.
party after party, which I can remember doing that for years when I was younger. So I just think maybe, I would suggest everyone just kind of set an intention about how you want your holidays to be, and you could base it on how you want to feel. And how I want to feel is relaxed. I want to enjoy, the parts of the holidays that I really love, and I want to not feel additional pressure. I
Yeah.
just want to chill, right? So, um, we went to the LA Zoo lights last Friday night. And normally we go in December, for Christmas. And I thought, no, we're going to go in November before it's crowded, before it's crazy, before it's even colder. And it was lovely. I mean, it was not crowded at all. We didn't have to stand in any lines. It's a
Mhm.
beautiful display of lights. And the LA Zoo has a lot of foliage
Yeah.
and just nature. It feels like you're out in nature. And so it was really lovely. But it was interesting because it's the first time I ever thought of doing that. It opens in November, like just before Thanksgiving, about a week before. And I'm like, why do I wait until December 10th or 15th when everyone's,
It's chaos. Yeah.
yeah, kids are out of school and parents are looking for something to do. It's like, oh, no, no, no. So that was lovely. Um, and then the other thing, which this because and I'm not going to say I haven't been a crazy gift giver before, but now that the grandkids are teenagers, they tend to just seem to want money, which I get because that's what
Yeah.
most teenagers want. But it also is like I don't have to deal with Black Friday sales or Cyber Monday shopping or any of that craziness and then trying to figure out like, oh, now what size your kids, the sizes change every other day, especially your son. But it's like I don't even have to worry about any of that. Like, okay, I'm happy with that. Where other people are like, well, you don't want to just give money. Like, if that's what they want, yes, I do.
Yeah.
It's perfectly fine.
I think they want that because it kind of gives them that sense of independence,
Of
where they can just
course.
get whatever they want. But no, I agree. And I think I did the Black Friday shopping once, like in person Black Friday shopping,
Yeah.
and never, ever
No.
will I do it again. It was mortifying. Number one, the energy of the people that you're surrounded with, it was like vicious. I just don't even, it's not that important to me. So I'll do online shopping. I don't even go to stores during the holidays because it's too stressful. I just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
And yeah, the same thing with gifts and everything. Luckily my kids are pretty what would you call it? I mean, they are pretty mindful when it comes to things. And so they're not very, I want this, I want this, I want this. It's never like that. They just want to get what they want to get for themselves and they just want the money to do it. And that's good enough for me. So I don't have to kind of follow that tradition of the gift giving. It is nice to give a gift to somebody, which I
Yeah.
do love to do. So, but the money is just fine.
Yeah. And again, it comes down to doing what we think others expect us to do,
Mhm.
right? And traditions, it's very interesting to me because traditions mean kind of repeating the same behaviors or actions over a long period of time. But most of us, our values or even our interests change over time.
Mhm.
So why can't we change or create new traditions? I don't think we have to stick with everything being exactly the same.
I think, my mother in law is very grounded in tradition. And I think part of it is, she has lost both of her parents. She's got a small family. She's lost her brother. I think maybe that the tradition part of it kind of helps her to feel more grounded in like the memories and things like that. So no judgment there at all. It's a hard transition for me because I am very not traditional with anything I do. And so I just don't like feeling like it's a chore. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? Like, I don't know. I do feel like a little bit like the holidays are more of a chore than anything else.
Yeah,
That
they can
sounds
be.
so cynical, but
Well, I was laughing because when you let us know that you were going to visit the in-laws, my first thought was, and you even had said like, well, we can have an early Thanksgiving together, and my answer was, I don't even like turkey. And then when I stopped, I was like, why am I making a turkey every year for everybody? Because I don't like it.
yeah.
And so then I thought, okay, so I asked your father, like, do you like turkey? This is the first time I've ever asked him in 46 years. He said, I really don't like turkey. I'm like, okay, why are we doing this? We're not having turkey. So I can't tell you yet what you'll be having for Thanksgiving next year, but it's probably not going to be a turkey.
I am okay with that because I'm not a huge fan either.
Isn't that funny? But again, tradition. So my whole life, I've cooked a turkey on Thanksgiving. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to some new things. And I do like some things traditionally,
Hmm.
but they tend not to be fixed. So like, over even well, probably even since your kids were little, I prefer experiences over purchasing something,
Same.
right?
Yeah.
So then we have that memory and we're not contributing to the garbage dumps and you know what I mean? Like all those things that just bother me about consumerism at Christmas time. And then it's a lovely time together. So I'm okay with that tradition, but it doesn't have to be, we don't have to do the same thing all the time, just that
Yeah.
come up with some experience or something to do. And I think that's a lovely gift to give to someone that you care about or that or your friends, family, it could be anybody, but that's one way to be a little more mindful. You're really planning out something that you'll look back on with fond memories, which to me is a tradition.
I think you make a great point that talking about if you actually even like the traditions you're doing, right? So maybe if you're so stressed out about the holidays right now, maybe take stock. Maybe go, okay, what do I actually like about Thanksgiving? And then go through the list and then plan your Thanksgiving around those things that you actually enjoy. And
Yeah.
if the tradition part has to come out, it has to come out. It's not that big of a deal. Same thing with Christmas. Do you love having everybody over? Not really. Well, maybe ask somebody else to host this year. Or do not love big crowds? Then don't go shopping. Do it online. You don't have to do those traditions if it's something that you just feel the obligation to do and it's not something you actually enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's again, it's mindless. Like
Mhm.
after the turkey discussion, then it was, I also hate cranberry sauce. So, like, and I make it,
You have tried so hard every year to make the cranberry sauce enjoyable by doing new recipes and trying this and that. And I hate it.
yeah. It's like, so no, that's off the table now. So we're making a new tradition, Melissa.
Okay. All right. I like it.
Um, I think another area that we could be more mindful about is not just uh, uh, conspicuous consumption, but food and alcohol consumption. So some people, it's just because they're going to parties and celebrating, so they're overeating and over drinking. Some, it's to deal with the holidays, right?
Yeah.
It's a way to numb or to, so, and then for some, and this, I mean, again, it's kind of like what you were talking about with your mother-in-law. This can be a time of year for some that it's not a happy time necessarily. I don't mean she's not happy, but I'm saying
Yeah.
it can be a time that people feel, um, you know, because of memories, people having passed, they can feel sad or lonely or things like that. And they've got the same pressure that we're talking about to be happy, to be joyful at this time of year. And so one way to deal with that is to emotionally eat or to overindulge in
Mhm.
drinking. And again, I would just, suggest that you just take a moment before you head out the door and think through, how do I want to feel by the end of the night? So, do I want to feel good? Do I want to feel relaxed? How do I want to feel tomorrow? Do I want to feel hungover? Just kind
Yeah.
of think about it. And I'm not saying to even feel guilty if you overindulge. It's that time of year, but it's the idea of thinking about it, being mindful of it instead of just sort of blindly doing it because it's what you always do or because you feel bad. Um,
Gosh, I know people that will like diet before the holidays just so they can not stress out about how much weight they're going to gain, or you know what I mean? It's like it's just so goofy to me. Like just enjoy it. You don't have to overdo it every time. But I do understand, and you bring up a good point about the pressure to be happy this time of year.
Yeah.
And gosh, that is so interesting because I really do think that that is a huge deal. People really do feel the pressure to be, you must be grateful this time of year. You must have joy of the season. And it's like, well, what if you don't? Then you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm a loser or whatever, and you don't want to feel like that. So, uh, some of the holiday stuff just kind of gives me the ick, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I saw I don't have to diet before. I gained all my weight in the last 2 months. So I'm like, oh, I'll stay the same and then I'll feel better about it. I don't think I'll gain because I'm already having a challenge. Um, no, I agree. And I was actually thinking, when I was thinking about what I'm grateful for, it's that time of year, so I was thinking about gratitude. And well, I don't think it's just in this country, but especially in this country right now. I do have apprehension about the new year. I do have concerns. And so I was thinking, well, does that have to impact my happiness? And the answer is not right now, not yet,
Yeah. Yeah.
because nothing's happened yet, right? There's
Right.
just talk about what's going to happen. So it's like staying present, again, a great mindfulness tip for whatever's going on in your life. But that feeling of apprehension is worrying about the future.
Right.
And focus on today. And today, yeah, I'm happy. My calm, quiet week has been already started. It's not even just the 4-day weekend. It's just been, I don't know if everybody's out of town or what's going on, but it's been very peaceful where I can think and take my time. So I'm trying to focus on that. And anyone can do that. So whatever your circumstances are, just ask yourself, are you making up stories about the future? You don't know what's going to happen?
Mhm.
Or is it something really happening to you right now? And if it's in the future, you can just stop it.
Yeah.
Focus on what's in front of you.
I think also trying to make sure that we aren't overextending ourselves financially.
Yes.
It's There's so much pressure to get the stuff, for your kids, for your family, for whoever. And then when you have, people over and you're the host and you're spending tons of money on food and drinks and whatever it is, it's not worth it after the fact. It might be a great party and your kids might be just thrilled with what they're getting, but think of the stress you're putting on yourself and how you're going to feel the day after Christmas, the month after when that payment comes due on your credit card. And it's like, oh, so stressful because you've overextended yourself. It's just not worth it.
Yeah. No, I agree. And even in general, I know, and I'm sure I did this for years. I don't think I do anymore. I may not be the best judge of that, but I don't think I do. But we're so busy. I'm too busy. I'm too busy. I'm too busy because of all the added activities and chores and tasks related to the holidays. So we stop practicing self-care. How many people do you know? I remember this from back in the days when I worked in an office. How many people came back to work sick after the new year? It wasn't until I started studying all of this in the last 20 years. It's like, oh, it's not winter, it's stress. And then you stop. So not only are you stressed, which is not good for your health, but you can't turn down sleep or some nutritious food, even despite
Yeah.
all the holiday cookies and cakes and everything. You've got to take care of yourself so that you can feel good and enjoy the holidays. So I would say, set another intention. And again, each day, I know, I mean, I've already started. I happen to love cooking. And so I've been experimenting with things lately, like the last 2 or 3 weeks. And I've baked a couple of sweet things, which I don't normally do because I'm not a big sweet eater. But I do it because I enjoy the process. I don't actually enjoy eating sweets. I enjoy eating the food, I will say, um, but I'm also really cognizant of the fact that if I eat, because I don't normally eat much sugar, if I eat a lot of sugar, I'm going to feel awful. And I
Yeah.
learned that not from these holidays. I learned it when you were younger with Halloween. So it's the only time I ate candy was all the candy that, came home from Halloween.
Yeah.
And I got sick the beginning of every November. So,
Mm.
and it was from just consuming too much sugar. My body doesn't like it and I don't feel good. So, just stop and think about that. Like, oh, self-care. Am I making sure I'm getting enough rest? Am I making sure that I'm in a good mood, right? Before you try to go shopping or see people that you care about or things like that. Um, am I uh, putting myself into debt, which is going to create stress? Or am I being conscious about buying only meaningful gifts, or maybe again having an experience instead of buying something? So I just think don't let self-care go out the window with the excuse that you're too busy.
Yeah. And I will say too, if you do like to indulge over the holidays, again, nothing wrong with that. Kind of what I'm doing, because I do love sweets and I do love, food. So what I usually do is I eat very healthy all year anyway, but at this time of year, I kind of double up on my vitamin intake and my greens intake and all of those things. And then I never feel guilty, because you also don't want that. You don't want to, overindulge and then have the guilt the next day of, oh, I shouldn't have eaten that. I shouldn't have drank that. So everything is in moderation, right? But if you do indulge, at least I've been doing great for myself, the past couple of weeks. So I'm okay. I'll be fine. And then you don't have that guilt popping up either.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that goes back to Thanksgiving dinner again. It's like a bonanza of carbs. That's it.
It's
Like what?
There's a reason everybody sits on the couch afterward, like ready to pass out.
Yeah, yeah, again, tradition, I know, but
Yeah.
um yeah, and now I'm debating. I don't know yet for sure. I'm debating, and I did this last year. I ended up decorating last year, but I'm debating. I'm not just assuming I'm going to decorate or hang lights or do any of that stuff anymore. Each
Mm-hmm.
year I decide during the Thanksgiving weekend, do I feel like I have time to spend on that versus something else I want to do? Actually, my biggest problem isn't the decorating, it's the putting it away,
Mm-hmm.
because that doesn't happen when you're off. You're
Yeah,
back
that's
at work.
after.
It's like,
Yeah.
how am I going to get all this put away? So I just give myself, so to me, that's two things. It's self-care and it's being very intentional.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to have company over, maybe I do want some decorations. If I'm not, then why am I going to go all that trouble?
I know.
So,
I told my husband this year that with he hates putting up Christmas lights. I'm sure most people do.
yeah,
But I told him we're not having anybody over. We're not hosting anything this year, so there's no need to put it up. Well, but everybody on the street's going to have theirs up, and it's like it doesn't matter.
yeah.
So
Again,
we're not going
yeah,
to do Christmas lights. Yeah.
yeah, it really, we're so trained, conditioned to worry about what other people think. And if we
Mm-hmm.
just in turn, like turn inward, what do the holidays mean for you? So, for some people, there's a lot of religious holidays in a
Mm-hmm.
row. For some people, it's just family time. For some people, it's a celebratory time of year. But think about what's meaningful about whichever holiday that you're celebrating, instead of just following again a tradition or pattern of what's expected. And then focus on that. Focus on what makes it meaningful for you. And a lot of people say, it's a joyful season. Well, as we discussed, if it's not a joyful season, then maybe you can start thinking about what would make it feel better for you. What do you need to feel better, instead of
Yeah.
worrying about what other people think and trying to meet other people's
And
expectations.
if you have kids and you feel that obligation for your kids, where it's like, well, they love the Christmas tree, they love this. Have you asked them what do they love about the holidays, right? And if they do love that, have them help you do it, where all of the stress isn't on you. For
But
me,
maybe it's like cranberries. Maybe they don't.
maybe they don't. Yeah. I mean, there are some things that we will do for the kids still, because even though they're both almost adults, well, one is an adult, but one's almost an adult. Um, they do love the Christmas tree. And so I will do that because it brings me joy to
Right.
see them have joy.
Yeah.
But I actually enjoy the Christmas tree. So that's not that big of a deal to me. But yeah, I think check in with everybody. You know, if
Yeah.
you feel that obligation to make everyone else happy, maybe ask them what actually makes them happy about the holiday. And then you guys can, like you're doing, create your own new traditions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, mindfulness is awareness. And this is really about, again, especially because I think so many people are already stressed before we've even really gotten into the holidays.
Especially financially, right? Yeah.
Yeah, on every front. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, it's not about, it doesn't have to be about consumerism. It doesn't have to be about overindulgence. It doesn't have to be about doing what you think everybody wants you to do. It can be about thinking things through before you act. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Online shopping. This is another one that I thought that people get, they get that pressure it's Black Friday and Cyber Monday and limited time only and limited quantities and there's all this pressure to buy. And or some people actually also use it as retail therapy during this time of year to
Hmm.
make themselves feel better. But it's like, okay, so if you're going to avoid the crowds and shop online, go ahead and, click away whatever you want to buy, put it in the cart, but don't buy it. Just put it in the cart, step away for a day or two, and come back. If it wasn't the holidays, this is good advice in general. Put it in the cart and leave it for 2 or 3, 4 weeks
Hmm.
and go back. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, why did I want that? Because that's what happens like three-quarters of the time. But for the holidays, even just give yourself that space
Yeah.
to think it through. Is this meaningful to me, or is this really going to be meaningful to the person I want to buy it for?
Hmm.
And if it's not, don't buy that thing.
Yeah.
Just stop and think. I just watched a documentary about our impact of trash on the planet, and I forgot the number now, but it was like something like 13 million cell phones get thrown away every day. And if you think of, I mean, I think back to even with and I think every parent has had this uh, come up in their lives where it's like you buy all these toys for the kids, and they end up playing with the boxes,
Hmm.
and the toys are discarded. I mean, they don't pay any attention after it, sometimes for the first few days, and then they don't play with it anymore. And it's like, let's just slow down and think about what would really be, what would a child really love to play with for longer than a day or two, or then just give them the box. But it's
Yeah.
like, but we got to step back a little bit and just think through what we're generating for all of us,
Yeah.
which is a tremendous amount of, gosh, the, garbage dumps and
Hmm.
polluted areas that are just amazingly filled with stuff that we buy for ourselves or for other people. And then we don't use it or want it after a little while, and it just
Hmm.
goes in the trash. So, yeah, just maybe a little more intention, a little more thinking things through. I don't know about you if you do this, but this is a good time of year to try to get either back into if you've slipped, like some of us, or to start, which is to just do a short meditation in the mornings
Yeah.
because travel is stressful right now. Like 80 million people are traveling this weekend or something. Like it's a record. Um, and talk about crowds, right? But if you start your day off centered, calm, then it's going to help get you through whatever it is. So whether it's the shopping mall or whether it's a family gathering, another way meditating in the morning might help you. Is a lot of people joke about this, but unfortunately, I think it's true a lot. And I'm sure in this country this year, it's going to be a problem for some households. It's the amount of stress and oh gosh, just real strain of having to go to a family event and hold in your thoughts because you disagree strongly with someone else that's going to be at that same event,
Yeah.
right? That's draining.
It is.
So
It is. And I do experience this. So
yeah,
it's going to
so
be, yeah,
you know,
stressful.
every day do your mindfulness practices or
Mhm.
meditate in the morning so that you're in a good state, and then maybe set the intention as you before you go through that door of this isn't about you standing up for what you believe or anything. That's it's not the appropriate space for that,
Mhm.
right? But it's not to deny what you believe. So
Yeah.
you go into it think maybe planning to listen mindfully, to try to be curious, to better understand. And if you feel like you must say something, okay, then I'm not going to say you shouldn't say it, but just think through it. Will I be happy with what I do right now tomorrow
Yeah.
or the next day?
Yeah. And
And
I've
take
experienced
that
this.
stress off.
Yeah. I've experienced this where definitely have different views on certain things with extended family. And it's, and I don't want to say like you don't stand up for yourself. Okay. But when you have been in this situation for the past 20 years and nothing's going to change, it really just there's no point really. So it's just end the conversation before it can really start, because it's not going to end up well. You don't want to start those tensions in a place where it's probably not appropriate,
Mhm.
and really just to save yourself, not about other people's peace, but just to keep your own peace. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So for
exactly.
me, I have to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a very dear friend, cracks me up. So she calls me about once every 6, 8, 10 weeks with, I mean, we see each other more than that, but I don't know why this comes up in a cycle, but she has a real challenge. in one of her relationships with an in-law,
Mhm.
and she feels a strong need to clear the air. So she calls me first, and she'll say, I really have to say something now. And so I always just ask her the same question.
Hi.
And, what are you hoping will happen from you saying something? Things will change. And has that happened yet over the last 15 years? No. You really want to do it, or do you want to make the relationship more strained?
Yeah.
I get a big sigh. And so now about half the time she'll go, I know what you're going to say. Well, okay, well then don't even call me about it. Just don't do it.
It's not
I'm,
worth it.
I'm kidding about not calling me, but you know what I mean? It's like, no, we know. And why get upset about something that you know is not going to change with that person?
Yeah.
If you want them in your life or you need them, when I mean need, I don't mean you maybe specifically need them, but you need them in your life because of other people that are, all together, then just think through, like, is it really worth it?
Yeah.
You know,
Usually not.
usually not, no. Um, I think the only other thing I can think of maybe as a suggestion is to try to put some, no pun intended, but some mindful moments throughout your days. So like just that little break of maybe 5 minutes, peace and quiet.
Mhm.
Maybe, it's to have a peppermint mocha chocolate, I don't know, whatever coffee, whatever it is, but just to carve that little bit of space out too, so that you're not accumulating stress all day long
Mhm.
as you're trying to get your regular stuff done on top of holiday stuff. And you might really notice that you're not as stressed by the time the end of your day comes.
Yeah, absolutely. And to just remember that as much as you want to please everyone else during the holidays, you're still the most important. So making sure that you are well taken care of and practicing self-compassion and self-care right now is crucial. We don't want you getting sick. We don't want you, furthering debt. We don't want you doing any of those things that are going to make you come back after the holiday break and go, oh, what was I thinking?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because they'll happen again next year.
Yep. Got another chance next year.
Not a one-time shot. So, but yeah, and again, I think we tend to at the end of the year look back, look at our year, we start thinking about the next year, and maybe really just include in that, what are your values now? What's changed? Are you in alignment like even when you purchase things, gifts for people, are they in alignment with your own values and beliefs, or are you again just trying to do something to please someone else, or it doesn't really matter what it is as long as you buy something and you have a gift exchange or whatever.
Yeah.
So just slow down and think it through, and just start maybe trying to tie the holidays, bring them back around to your current values.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and of course, individual tastes like turkey and cranberries, whatever it is.
Do you actually like it?
Why am I eating this? Yeah. So we do hope you have a very happy Thanksgiving in this country. I know that other countries have Thanksgiving. I just don't think they're all at the same time. But um, and even if it's not a Thanksgiving holiday right now for you, it is a time for getting together with family and friends because it's winter. You're indoors. It's approaching. The major religious holidays are coming up, and we just really hope that you enjoy them and that you can approach them mindfully this year and really enjoy them if possible. And if not, at least you'll be taking care of yourself and be practicing your mindfulness skills. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful holiday, and there's no pressure for the happiness over the holidays. If you're not, just know that we are here with you, and we would love to hear from you if you want to talk. So
Thank you. Bye-bye.
thank you. Bye-bye.
This podcast is part of the Airwave Media Podcast Network. Visit airwavemedia.com to listen and subscribe to other great shows. Visit our website, amindfulmoment.com, to access podcasts, scripts, and reading recommendations. A Mindful Moment is hosted by Teresa McKee and Melissa Sims. This podcast is produced by Work to Live Productions. Thank you for tuning in.